So, as always, when we start the practice, a good starting point is to check in with how you're sitting. And it's not a matter of sitting in a way that's perfect, but it's more that sending a message between mind and body that I'm doing something that matters. John Kabat-Zinn famously said, "We sit as if our life depended on it," and it probably does. So taking our seat. And then just a few moments to reflect on, well, why do you practice? And it's a strange thing that we have an intention for our at the same time as not having too many expectations. So why do you practice? And if nothing else, there is an intentionality in our practice. We're doing it on purpose. We're trying to stay awake. And the first thing we do in turning towards our experience is just allowing ourselves to become aware of the thoughts that are with us, that have been with us today. We might not choose to have thoughts, but they happen. And if we don't acknowledge them, one thing's for sure, they will rule our lives. So what are you thinking? What thoughts are happening? Is it possible to know that you're thinking as thinking happens? And then, whether we notice it or not, there's always some internal weather. How I'm feeling, what kind of mood I'm in. And again, if we don't acknowledge that, it can get us into all sorts of trouble. So just asking yourself, as you would ask a friend, how are you feeling today? How are you doing? And isn't it a great gift of kindness to allow ourselves to be just as we are? Honestly, how do you feel? And is it possible to be okay with how we are? Of course, we might want to be better, but for now, to be okay with who we are. And then turning attention to the body, and not just the idea of my body, the concept of my body, the image of my body. From the inside, what is it like to be in this body? What sensations present themselves? The points of contact as you're sitting on the seat, or your feet and hands resting. And if you would sit quietly and wait, what sensations might you become aware of? And would it be possible to experience the sensations as they arise with no need to do anything about them? And they change all the time. What would it be like to wake up in this body? And then, of course, we are breathing. And we can think about breathing. But how would you experience breathing? How does the body move as it breathes? What does it feel like to follow the breath as it comes and goes? Is every breath the same, or are they all a little bit different? And is it possible to choose to maintain a sense of knowing that breathing is happening? It's not because we're supposed to. It's more a way of paying attention to something that is really happening. We are breathing. And it's happening right now. Knowing that we're breathing. And it doesn't have to be a big deal. It's just there as a reference point. It's choosing to put some of our attention with the breath. And finding out for ourselves how much attention we need on the breath today, so that we don't feel tight and trying too hard, but so that it's not too loose and the mind just goes off on its own stories. Kind of balance, using the breath as a support. And we sometimes talk of resting, and it doesn't mean stopping thoughts. It means resting the tendency to get involved and react to every passing thought, to be off duty. What happens if you allow a thought to arise and just let it do what it does, but know that it's happening? And using this soft support of breath just there, so we don't get lost. And if we do get lost, as is likely to happen, almost certainly you'd have lost connection with the breath. So how do you come home? Simply knowing that breathing is happening. It's useful sometimes to check in with our expectations. Is there a sense, however subtle, that meditation is supposed to be a bit better or different than what I'm experiencing right now? And what would it be like to look at that expectation and, just like any other thought, to let that go? Allowing experience to be just as it is and maintaining a sense of knowing. With as much or as little support as you feel you need right now. And then taking a few moments to reflect back on your practice. Whether things seemed easy, whether it seemed difficult, but perhaps most of all with a feeling of appreciation that we get to do the practice. We know how to practice, and we showed up to do the practice. and with an aspiration, I think, towards the end of the practice that we can't carry it with us, but an aspiration that when we need it, it will resurface. And that if we have a little glimpse of freedom in our own mind, that we don't need to react all the time. It's going to be better for us, and also will create less trouble for other people. So in that way, we could kind of offer to share or dedicate the practice to the best interests of everyone.